Fabiano and Derek here, so it's all hands on deck. Yeah. Expound. Yeah.
Both are good.
Yeah. Costa. I'll grab him. I'll grab Rodolfo. Bring him over. Start rocking.
1, 2, 3, go Birds. Go Birds.
¿Qué tal, Michael? ¿Cómo estás? Nuevamente aquí en el Apex de Vegas, ahora por algo distinto, por estelarizar tu primera pelea. Primero consultarte las sensaciones sobre esta pelea y por supuesto de tener a tu madre aquí presente por primera vez en UFC.
Question about the fact that it is the first main event, just general impressions of the fight, and also the fact that Mama's in the house for the first time.
Pues me siento muy bien, estoy muy contento de estar en este evento, en esta pelea que hemos estado buscando, de por lo menos encabezar alguna pelea en UFC. Creo que es una oportunidad que no pienso desaprovechar. Estoy muy contento de que mi familia también esté aquí presente. Realmente mi familia siempre ha estado presente en cada evento del que he ido, solo que como he venido a pelear en Estados Unidos no han tenido los documentos necesarios para entrar, pero ahora que los tenemos todos ya estamos como en paz, por así decirlo, porque ya estamos juntos de nuevo, así que nada, simplemente es más apoyo para mí para esa pelea.
I'm very happy to be here, and obviously another opportunity with UFC. And I'll tell you what, the family's here, but they've always been with me. It's just that there wasn't necessary documentation for them to be here, but now they're here, and we're happy and very excited and ready for this fight.
Bueno, y hablando netamente del tema de tu campamento, ¿cómo crees que se va a desenvolver la pelea frente a Gilbert Burns? Si crees que se va a determinar de pie o en el piso.
About the fight, after just to kind of elaborate a little bit of your honor camp, and also how do you think that the fight is going to develop against Gilbert Burns if you feel that this how is going to be standing or on the ground?
Creo que va a ser una pelea de mucho intercambio. Él es un peleador muy explosivo, no sabemos cómo vaya a reaccionar a los golpes o al intercambio. Sé que no hay que darle ningún tipo de ventaja porque él aprovecha todo eso, así que va a ser una pelea muy explosiva, pienso yo. Creo que es una oportunidad para él, ya que viene de perder varias peleas, y una muy buena oportunidad también para mí, para meterme dentro de los top 10.
I think it's going to be, explosive fight, and there's going to be a lot of exchanges as well. I think there'll be many opportunities for me. It's my kind of fight, and a fight that's going to give me an opportunity to go into the top 10.
Conectada a esta pregunta, de igual manera, tú vienes de un pre-camp, un camp. ¿Cómo ves tu cardio? ¿Crees que la pelea se va a ir para los 5 rounds?
Also, about this fight, obviously, going to your first main event, it's going to be 5 rounds. How does your cardio hold up?
Nos preparamos, al igual que la pelea anterior, de la misma forma, contra peleadores con mucho cardio. Al igual que la vez pasada que fue con Magni, nos preparamos muy bien para esa pelea. Sabemos que era un peleador con mucho cardio y no hay mucha diferencia en esta. Iniciamos campamento casi en enero, hasta que pues nos cambiaron las peleas varias veces, pero sabíamos que nuestro rival estaba lesionado y tenía que prepararse, y queremos estar todos los dos al 100% para una buena pelea, así que nos preparamos nuevamente muy bien, y pues nada sale como esperamos siempre en las peleas. La pelea pasada pensábamos pelear también con todo el cardio que teníamos, pero se acabó el primer round, así que esperamos que esta sea de la misma forma, se acabe rápido, y pues evitar lesiones obviamente para poder disfrutar de una pelea próxima muy pronto.
I think we've prepared really well for this, and we've been working along the cardio. I think the preparation has been going on, and you think about it ever since January. Then obviously, if something happens with an opponent that has injuries, it just obviously delays the process. But we continued to train and work on cardio. At the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen in a fight. You never know if what you train for is indeed what's going to happen. Last time we prepared for a very long fight. At the end of the day, it ended in the first round. But we are prepared. We're prepared for the best version of a fight we're going to face, and the cardio is not going to be a problem.
Michael, has dicho públicamente en reiteradas ocasiones que no tienes el máximo grado por Ian Garry. ¿Sería tu primera opción si pudieras solicitar o pedir un oponente luego de esta pelea, Ian Garry?
You talked about, obviously we know that you're fighting on this one, but we know that in the welters and with Ian Garry being a backup over in Montreal, would he be the first call out that you would have after a win on Saturday? Would you call out on Ian Garry?
Reiteradas veces lo he pedido para pelear. Creo que ahora ya, como él está dentro del top 10, está un poco difícil la cosa de que nos dejen pelear. Muy aparte de eso, a pesar de que ya perdió una vez, sigue siendo un prospecto para UFC, así que va a querer que pelee con los mejores también él, al igual que yo. No creo que nos hagan pelear ahora, pero si se da la oportunidad no la pienso desaprovechar. Sí, le quiero sacar la chucha, yo quiero pelear con él sí o sí, y pues simplemente esperar la oportunidad que nos den y ver qué pasa. Pero ahorita es el peleador que llegue, no importa quién sea.
Listen, he's a great fighter and somebody that I've always looked into as an opponent. My understanding, he's no longer an undefeated fighter. That loss is there, but still a fighter that everybody puts up on top. And I think somebody that would be next. Obviously, we don't know who'll be fighting, but I love to wipe the smile off that face. But it would be somebody that, yeah, we consider for our next fight.
Bueno, tomando en cuenta que ha cambiado un poco el panorama de la división, porque Belal ya no es el campeón, alguien con quien tú has entrenado, con quien tú has hecho campamento, ¿qué opinión te merece la victoria de Jack de la Magdalena sobre Belal y cómo ha cambiado eso el panorama de la división?
And about the change in the landscape of the welterweight division. I mean, now with Belal's loss and Jack's win, how do you see and how much that has changed the entire scenario now for welterweights?
Sí, ante mis ojos, Belal dio todo de él. Jack de la Magdalena también es un peleador súper duro, de muchos intercambios, noqueador más que nada. Pero hicieron los dos muy buen desempeño. Para mí, yo siento la plena así, sin darle mucho, a pesar de que es amigo, sin darle mucho favoritismo. Sentí que había ganado Belal poquito por los derribos que tuvo, las defensas también que Jack no pudo detenerlo. Pero igual, esto es pelea, la pelea es peleando y pues los dos dieron el máximo, los jueces vieron ganadora a Jack y pienso yo que pues es la oportunidad que los jóvenes están buscando. Él es un peleador que debutó casi el mismo día que yo, creo que debutamos el mismo día, de hecho Jack y yo, y pudo seguir avanzando en la categoría. Yo tuve un paro de un año, no pude pelear casi todo un año, así que él va un poquito más adelante que yo. Creo que es una oportunidad que él no piensa desaprovechar ahora que es campeón de aceptar a quien venga. Creo yo que va a pelear contra Makhachev, si mal recuerdo, Islam. Y pues, no sé, o sea, esto es avanzar, es avanzar. Todos los peleadores welter son prácticamente nuevos, todos están sacando a los del antiguo régimen, por así decirlo, así que simplemente vamos a incorporarnos también a los nuevos en el top 10, top 5, top 1, los que vengan y a seguir avanzando.
I think, you
Michael.
know, not even to come on favoritism because of the fact that I know him, I do think that he had won the fight, Belal, because of the takedowns, and I think he had dominated him. But at the end of the day, you come in with someone like towards the end of the fight, and you have the result, and I think they can see why he won, and that Jack has this, and he's not going to be a guy that's going to say no to people, and he's going to accept the challenges. But I think that he's going to fight Makhachev now. That's what's next. But now things changed, and we have other fighters to face. So now just you look. The biggest thing now is to get into the top 10, then get into the top 5, and look for something else.
Gracias. Michael, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bueno, según lo que escucho, esta es tu pelea más importante de tu carrera. Si no es así, me corriges. ¿Cuál crees que va a ser el punto de quiebre justamente en esta pelea que se viene tomando en consideración el rival? Burns, que se ha enfrentado a algunos rivales también importantes, Masvidal, Chimaev, etcétera. ¿Cuál crees que va a ser el punto de quiebre de acuerdo a las características que tiene él y a las características tuyas?
Well, now this obviously the first main event of your career, and then fighting a guy like Gilbert Burns who has faced everybody, Masvidal and Chimaev and everybody else, so experienced and has faced so many people in the octagon. What do you think the differences are going to be? As in, like, where is the breaking point? What are the things that you bring to this that you could explore in him, and what are the keys to the victory?
Pues la cosa está en que yo siempre he creído que a veces inmortalizamos a los peleadores por cómo han peleado y han hecho su historia, pero yo creo más en no tener miedo, no huevarse. Yo creo que eso es lo que más me ha destacado, por así decirlo, que no me echo para atrás contra quien sea, me he enfrentado a todo tipo de peleador, he experimentado y pues creo que el punto de quiebre aquí es en que quien tenga más ganas de ganar, ¿no? Yo creo que tengo todas las ganas de ganar, de hacerme campeón. Estoy joven, estoy más alto, estoy más largo, traigo siento yo que tengo el potencial suficiente como para pelear contra él, un peleador experimentado que ha tenido sus años dentro de UFC, tiene su experiencia, así que él tiene eso y yo tengo la juventud, el talento, las ganas de ganar, la distancia, la altura. Creo que hay muchos factores que nos dividen, pero esto es quien lo quiera más. Así que simplemente pienso dar todo mi corazón, todo lo que tengo para demostrar y pues a ponerle huevos.
¿Te consideras favorito?
I think
Ay, perdón.
that you have to. Sometimes we immortalize fighters, or we put them somewhat on a pedestal, and I think that basically you have no fear. I understand that he is, somebody who's faced a lot of people, but I do have a lot to offer in this fight. I do believe that you have to approach it. You just have to go for it. I think at the end of the day, with both of us, it's going to be who wants more, and I think I do want more, and that's where I'm going to come out on victory. And she just asked, do you consider yourself to be favorite? ¿Te crees favorito?
¿Te consideras favorito? Y la última también, si soñaste estar donde estás hoy, porque obviamente que todavía el techo es mucho más alto.
Do you consider to be a favorite? Do you consider yourself to be a favorite in this fight? And did you dream about being where you are today? And we know that the ceiling is even higher than where you are tonight.
Sí, mi mamá siempre me considera el favorito, para ella soy el favorito, así que si ella lo dice, yo también lo creo, así que yo creo que sí, somos los favoritos de esta noche. Y pues es una oportunidad más para mí, una oportunidad más para mi familia, una oportunidad más para todos los ecuatorianos y Latinoamérica presente, así que no la pensamos desaprovechar.
Consider yourself to be favored. I think this is, again, an opportunity. These are opportunities that when you dream about more, but these are opportunities that you have to take advantage of. And when they come in, you have to take advantage of them.
Just going off of going back, sorry, to the stuff that's going at the top of the division. Do you feel that do you understand why the UFC allowed Islam to go over and challenge immediately for the belt? Do you feel that it's fair? And what are your thoughts that they allowed that to actually happen when there were other contenders that could have stepped up?
Ahora, hablando de cómo las cosas se han cambiado en la división welter, ¿cuáles son tus pensamientos generales, tu impresión general del hecho de que el UFC permitió que Islam se fuera de los ligeros a los welters, o sea, y ahora va directamente hacia el título? O sea, ¿qué opinas tú acerca del hecho de que no lo pusieron a otra pelea, simplemente dijeron sí, estás acá y ahora tienes el derecho de pelear por el título de tu división?
Nosotros como peleadores no podemos, por así decirlo, de tener favoritismo nosotros, despedir algo que pues no tenemos como el derecho de pedir, así por así decirlo. Simplemente es la oportunidad que te da, si te la da UFC, aprovéchala, tómala y es lo que necesitas. O sea, si es lo que quieres, serte campeón de una, siendo de otra división, pues lo vas a hacer. Entonces se le dio la oportunidad y si lo hace bien, si no, pues obviamente el que va a quedar mal no va a ser el presidente, sino él, porque él está pidiendo la oportunidad por el título. Y pues si él se cree merecedor de eso, está bien. Yo también me creo merecedor del título, pero eso no quiere decir que vaya a pegar el brinco así por así. Tengo que demostrarlo, tengo que todavía obtener más experiencia en la categoría y seguir avanzando.
I think we're fighters, and I think we're always going to take advantage of opportunities, and whenever something comes to us, we want that. And I think if he believes that he is worthy of the title, I too believe I'm worthy of going for a title. And if you are going to get it, if it works out, fine, you're going to go out there and get 2 belts. If not, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be look good, and you're going to have to go back to the drawing board on that. But I believe myself to be worthy of a title shot as well. But if you are a fighter, you will take that opportunity. And if you believe yourself, you believe you can get that opportunity and make the best out of it.
Just one quick fun one for me. I noticed you have a new manicure heading into this fight. Can we maybe show the camera and tell us a little bit about it?
Vamos por favor, a la cámara. ¿Cómo están las uñas? ¿Qué podrías decir el tema de la semana?
No, pues el mismo de siempre, Spider-Man. Ya todo el mundo lo ha visto, todo el mundo ha podido observar que me gusta mucho. Traigo hasta el corte también ya. Me gusta mucho. Tengo ya varias peleas donde he dicho que me gusta mucho el personaje de Miles Morales. Entonces, aparte de que yo el apellido, pues me siento identificado también por eso. Y lo hemos venido trayendo desde hace ya tiempo. También hemos traído nuestro talismán, que es el Tigre Toño. Y pues vamos a seguir trayendo cositas nuevas a UFC que no se han visto nunca.
Same as usual, Spider-Man, because I love it. The theme is still with me. I just the haircut as well. Apart from the fact that, I got the nickname, but I love the character of Miles Morales. I think that we've always brought this, and we're going to continue to bring it, and I think we're going to continue to introduce some new things to the UFC that people have never seen.
Michael, aquí atrás. ¿Cómo estás, Michael? Chito Vera en su podcast decía que tú eras la sangre nueva de Ecuador, que eras el atleta más importante o la promesa más grande del país. ¿Cómo te sientes con esas palabras? No sé si te llevas bien con Chito, si las viste, si las leíste.
No escuché una parte que diste que Chito dije que es lo más grande del país.
Que Chito Vera dijo que es la promesa más grande del deporte en este momento.
That Chito Vera actually mentioned in the podcast that he is the greatest promise from Ecuador. And how do you feel about getting that praise from Chito?
No, pues me siento muy bien al ser reconocido por otros deportistas que han representado muy bien al país. Creo que todas las palabras buenas son bienvenidas, igual las negativas también, pero pues como mi mamá me dice, los pies sobre la tierra siempre, hay que estar siempre cautelosos y precavidos siempre dentro de esta compañía más que nada, porque todo el mundo te quiere arrancar la cabeza. Mientras más subes, todo el mundo quiere tu invicto o quitarte más récord, así que concentrado, siempre concentrado. Las palabras positivas son muy buenas también para nosotros los deportistas y es algo que poco a poco nos va motivando en cierta forma también. Y pues nada, Chito también tuvo sus oportunidades, sigue teniendo sus oportunidades a la mesa todavía. Creo que ahorita se encuentra lesionado de su último entrenamiento, no va a poder pelear, pero pues se va a recuperar, todos nos recuperamos y hay que seguir mejorando para pues obtener el oro que es en UFC.
I think getting a praise from Chito is very, it's obviously very important and an honor. You have to stay grounded and keep yourself very grounded here. I think this is an organization, everybody's going for it. They come for you. People want to take your head off. And everybody is very competitive, but you need to stay focused, stay grounded, and stay with the task at hand. But you still getting athletes love positive reinforcement, and getting those words are important to us. They help us be motivated and continue to power through. I think he's a great athlete and someone who had his shot, continues to fight for his shot still right now. I think he's injured, but still is somebody that when somebody like him that represents so much says those things, we love to hear it.
Michael, veía la t-shirt de tu mamá, dice arrecho para ganar. Para la gente que no somos de Ecuador, ¿podrías explicarnos un poquito lo que significa la frase? ¿Y en qué momento de tu vida te das cuenta que quieres ser peleador de UFC? ¿Y quién fue quien te inspiró? Yo creo que es una pregunta larga, pero te agradezco la respuesta.
Can you please explain the term that your mom describes you as, for those who are not Ecuadorian? And also, how do you feel about, your career at the UFC? I think we'll go for the answer more than the question.
Sí, la frase arrecho para nosotros los ecuatorianos lo podemos decir para cualquier cosa casi, contar de ponerle corazón, ponerle huevos o una expresión como de enojo, una expresión como de pasión, muchas cosas. Pero para mí, en mi familia, la palabra arrecho es como no tengas miedo, sé disciplinado, sé constante, motívate, muchas cosas. Mi mamá la utiliza casi para cosas buenas, más relacionadas al deporte o más para que no tengas miedo a algo. Entonces, para mí es así. La palabra arrecho es no tengas miedo, sé tú eres así. Para mí esa palabra me ha describido o descrito, por así decirlo, muchas cosas que me han pasado en la vida. Entonces, es algo que me recuerda mucho a mi familia, más a mi mamá. Y pues, para mí esta frase la digo en cada pelea porque es como decir que no tuve miedo al enfrentarme a alguien, no tuve miedo en que pasaran cosas malas, no tuve miedo en ver qué pasa, en lo nuevo. Así que para mí la palabra arrecho es no tengas miedo. Y ya.
To me, the term arrecho is more, obviously there's a term that we use in Ecuador. It means tough, it means rugged, it means feisty, it means that you face any challenge. And to us, I think it's what we, at home, the things that we always said and the things that she has always said about me is to be fearless, to never fear new challenges, never fear the new, never fear what's coming, never fear the unknown. to many people it has different meanings, but to me, that's what it's always been. You do not be afraid of the things that you don't know and what's coming in the next challenges. So to us, that's what it meant. Be fearless in winning.
Ok, Michael, acá Henry, Ecuador. Solo dos preguntas. Primero, no sé si has visto, pero se comenta mucho que llegas como el favorito en las apuestas en general, el favorito para llevarse este combate, y es lógico pensarlo por la actualidad de ambos peleadores, ¿no? Tú invicto y Gilbert Burns con 3 derrotas consecutivas. Pero ¿cómo toman esto a la interna, tú como peleador y desde tu campamento? ¿Es una presión más o lo sienten como parte del proceso de enfrentarse a un peleador tan experimentado? Y bueno, ¿cómo se han preparado en general, no solamente de manera física porque el trabajo ya está hecho, sino también para pelear con nuevos desafíos, que es pelear por primera vez a 5 rounds, tal vez ir a una decisión? ¿Cómo lo han pensado desde adentro?
The new challenges that you face here, how does the camp prepare and how have you prepared with, first of all, is there any additional pressure and what's the preparation like for you to fight a guy that you were coming in undefeated, young and a promise, and you have Gilbert Burns, very, very experienced, but it's coming off 3 losses. How do you see that? Is there an added pressure because you got that 0 and he's got 0-4 lately? Does that add pressure to you? To fight 5 rounds in your first main, to fight in a main event. How do you prepare and how do you adjust to having all those things in front of you?
Pues el invicto, como siempre he dicho, para mí no es presión, no es algo que tenga que asustarme, simplemente todo lo contrario. Hay que trabajar más, no sabemos qué vaya a pasar de que mañana algo en la jaula, nada está escrito en la jaula. La pelea, como siempre digo, es peleando. Y pues el que se prepara bien, lo hace bien, así que esto es cuestión de trabajo inteligente, trabajo duro. Gilbert es un peleador que viene de perder, como tú lo dices, entonces es un león que está ahí esperando su oportunidad y no la piensa desaprovechar. Y yo igual, o sea, los dos tenemos hambre de ganar, los dos queremos la victoria. Él porque a lo mejor está asustado de que lo vayan a cortar en la empresa, yo porque quiero seguir subiendo en el ranking, quiero seguir peleando, quiero seguir avanzando hacia el cinturón. Así que todos necesitamos esta oportunidad para seguir avanzando. Él tiene pues por lo que esté peleando. Yo tengo por lo que estoy peleando. Así que cada quien está haciendo lo que puede, con lo que puede, y pues yo creo que ambos tenemos las herramientas como para seguir avanzando en la categoría.
I think that the undefeated record, the 0, is just like I always told people, it's never been added pressure. It's just, results of the work, and you continue to enjoy that. As for Gilbert, listen, it's a guy who's very experienced. There's a lion out there that just wants to have his shot again. All of us are fighting for something. I have the reasons why I'm fighting. He's got his reason why I'm fighting. I want to move up in this division. I want to go up. He wants to get back to the willing column. So we all have our reasons, and we're going to go fight for that. So it's part of the game.
Michael, y solo para finalizar, bueno, durante esta semana la gente en Ecuador está muy expectante de lo que viene para la araña este sábado. El mensaje para todos esos ecuatorianos que están a la espera de una nueva victoria y verte seguir ascendiendo dentro de la categoría en UFC.
Just a message for everybody in Ecuador right now. If you go ahead and just tell everybody that's waiting for a great performance on Saturday.
Nada, pues que simplemente esperen una victoria más, un triunfo más. Nos vamos con toda la motivación, toda la adrenalina, toda la rechera, todos los huevos. Vamos a ponerle mucho empeño a esta gran pelea. Es una oportunidad que tenemos única, así que nada, vamos a demostrar el poder latino, el poder ecuatoriano, también incluido también el poder de México. Creo que todo lo que hemos trabajado lo vamos a demostrar el día sábado en esta gran pelea, así que simplemente eso, vamos a ponerle mucho corazón a esta gran batalla que tenemos y vamos a volvernos campeones de la categoría welter.
You can expect a win on Saturday and a great performance. We're gonna be fearless. We're gonna have some balls in there, and it's gonna see the Latino power, Ecuadorian power, Mexican power, and continue on to be a champion in the welterweight division.
Paul, welcome back. Right here in front. How are you, brother? Good to see you again. So you're back. It's fight week. You know, you're at the Apex. You know, you're in the, co-main event of the night. You know, that's got to feel pretty good. I mean, I guess what's your excitement level? Is it just another day in the office, or, how are you feeling right now coming into this fight week?
I'm feeling good. There's a few little moments that's happening. Like, it's my 20th fight for the UFC, so that's like a big milestone for me. Not only that, I'm moving back up to light heavyweight. I've been away for a couple of months, maybe a year or two plus. So that's also given me a wee bit of excitement to see what I can come back in here and do as a light heavyweight. And like when you've got someone like Ankalaev at the title and there's only one loss in his record, I'm excited to see what I can do, like with a few fights in the next few months.
You mentioned those milestones, when you started your career and you made it to the UFC. Did you, I'm sure you thought you were going to have a great run, but when you still hit those milestones, are they still extra special? Did you ever think that you would really have this many fights in the UFC?
I'm going to be honest, when I was talking to Fight Law and they were asking me about my first fight, and I'd said to them, like, when I got to the UFC, I had no aspirations of being a UFC fighter. I was still teaching at high schools, so I never seen this as a career. I seen this as like a kind of stop-off for me in between teaching, like, I'm still a teacher. I never seen myself as a fighter. And then when I was able to stop being a full-time teacher and becoming a full-time fighter, that was like a massive milestone for me, because there was a lot of to stop having a regular income check every single month to rely on making money through fighting. It's a scary opportunity, but it was a huge milestone for me. And then I thought, right, one contract, 4 fights, that's more than enough for my UFC career. And then I get that victory over Ankalaev and they offer me another contract. I'm like, right, 8 fights, we can do 8 fights. And then it just kept happening. And then when the real milestones for me started happening was things like the Tops cards. When they came in play and I seen myself on a card as a kid, growing up, collecting them myself, collecting soccer cards, and now people are collecting Paul Craig cards, and it still blows my mind that people actually want these cards. Like, it's crazy. And then another huge milestone was being part of the UFC computer game. Same again. It's ticking these boxes as a kid. If I could go back and tell my younger self, say, Paul, listen, wait till I tell you, see when you become an adult, you're going to be in a computer game. And these kind of things are blowing my mind. And to make it 20 fights in the UFC, had a few ups and downs, but had some oh my God moments in the sport. And I do believe there's a few oh my God moments left for me in this sport. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do moving back up to light heavyweight.
Refresh my memory, because I know you told us in the past. What were you teaching? What was the subject?
So I was dealing with kids, so it would be like a social subject, so dealing with them, learning them basic soft core skills. Loved it. It was, every day was amazing. I got to do so many good experiences through that job. Got to go to Africa and take a group of kids from Scotland. Took 4 kids away to Africa to do some missionary work. Got to meet Prince William through this job. It was like one of the greatest moments in my life up until I became a fighter. And I've always kind of, for some reason, I've always had this exciting life where things have just came to me and presented themselves, like becoming a teacher, like having kids, like being a fighter. So I'm excited to see what the next chapter of my life is going to be.
I was going to say, I don't want to end this UFC chapter just yet, but is that something after you're done fighting that you hope to revisit, doing some social work or working with kids or doing teaching or something along those lines?
No, I think life's about moving forward, and I think sometimes if you go back and try and do the same thing, when I've not been in teaching for where we're talking maybe like 10 years now, or 8 years maybe, 8-9 years. So it's a long time being away from it. So for me, it's all about what's going to happen next, what's my next step, because I don't believe it's going back to teaching. It may be something involved dealing with young adults, dealing with young kids, but right now, it's about being a fighter. It's about showing what I've got left in this tank, and I do believe there's just a little bit left, a little bit of that special Paul Craig magic left for me to showcase it.
We're jumping over to the fight career where you're also, it's good to see you back, but we're seeing you in a position that we've never seen you before with 3 losses coming in here. what sort of pressure does that put on you? And I mean, what do? You know, obviously, you know, the light heavyweight move and coming back to that, but how do you address the three issues, and what does that do to you going into a fight week? Are you just focused on the fight ahead, or what does that do to you, knowing that you're coming in a place you've never been before?
Yeah, that move to middleweight at the time was a great idea, and after that victory against Andre Munoz in London was incredible. I didn't really get a chance to get running as a middleweight, but that's because I had three high-level opponents in front of me. I had Kyle Barallo, Brendan Allen and Bo Nickel. So they're no slouches in this game, and to lose to them, it's not an embarrassment. But it's difficult to pick yourself up for three losses because this sport is about entertaining, and if you're not entertaining, you're not winning, then the UFC have no right to keep you. And I know that myself. I'm not under any illusion that a loss come Saturday night would potentially result in me not having a UFC contract on the Monday morning. So that for me is fire, and that's what I think I need. I do my best work when my back's against the wall and everybody's written me off. So that's why this fight is ideal for me. Move back up to light heavyweight, don't have to cut all that extra muscle mass, and it's game day for me.
But they're also throwing a guy at you, Rodolfo Bellato, as a striker. You know, everybody knows. We know what you like to do. We know that at some point you're going to try to take it to a ground, but this is a guy that's going to want to try to stand and bang. So, I mean, how do you approach this fight, and what are your thoughts on him when you were given that name as an opponent?
Yeah, we've never ever backed down for a fight, so if they've offered us a fight, we've taken it. And they'd offered us someone else just before this fight, and we accepted it. And then a few days later, they offered us this fight, and the same again. We accepted it because we're warriors. We don't back down. For Rodolfo Bellato, great striking. It works very well for mixed martial arts. He moves forward in nice straight lines, throws nice straight shots, throws that nice calf kick, and we've seen him working with Pereira on that, and I do believe that's going to be what he's going to try and do in this fight on Saturday night. Watching his fight against Jimmy Crute, I seen there was areas where I could impose my game plan. That's a great opportunity if it happens that way, but this is a fight game and some things have to change. So for me to be, I'm only looking for jiu-jitsu, that would be silly of me. What I need to do is I need to use good footwork, I need to use straight shots, and I need to use my striking to set up these wrestling exchanges so that I can then take him to the mat, wear him out and get that victory. Because first and foremost, the victory is important, not about how good I look or how crisp my striking is. It can be ugly. My striking can be as ugly as you need it. I just need to get the victory.
Good luck on Saturday.
So
Paul, now that you're moving back up to light heavyweight, just how brutal was that weight cut? And I know you talked about like an eating disorder that you got. Like, just how difficult was that cut to middleweight?
Yeah, definitely. When you think about calorific input to output, I was under 2,000 calories for 10 weeks in a fight camp for a man who's 6'4" and was walking around at 100 kg. It's horrible. But when you give yourself a goal, and the goal was to become a middleweight champion, that's what I decided to do. And I had the focus to do it, and I've done it for all these kind of fights. But what happened negative was mentally, I ended up with an eating disorder. And one of the best things that I'd done was actually told people about it. Because for a long time I was embarrassed with it. Like, coming into my third fight, I was like, I think my second fight, I hadn't told anybody about it, and I'm like, this is not healthy. And I think by putting it out there, and I do believe there's other fighters out there who are going through this, and it's difficult to deal with on your own. So put it out there, get the support, get the help. And one of the things was having a healthier relationship with food, and the only way to do that is by not doing the restriction, by not doing the long cardios to burn more calories so that I could eat more. It was to have a healthy relationship with it, and being a light heavyweight has helped out.
Once you came to the conclusion that you did have an eating disorder, did that kind of flip your mind to like, I have to go back up to light heavyweight?
If their last three fights had went the way that I'd wanted them to go and received victories as a middleweight, I would have stayed there. The things that fighters will do to their body is incredible. So when I look at what was happening to my body as a middleweight, I had low testosterone, I had no white blood cells, I kept getting infections because I had nothing to fight it off. I had like really low body fat percentage, but the goal was to be that champion or get in that top 10 and be in that mix. and I would have done anything to do it. And it's the same as a light heavyweight. I would do anything to be a champion. I'd do anything to be a top 15, top 10, top 5 opponent.
Do you have any regret going down to middleweight?
I don't. Life's about looking forward, and if you constantly look back, then you're going to miss what's in front of you. And I think worrying about the shoulda, woulda, couldas is like the first sign of a loser. I should have done this. I would have done this. What are you going to do next? Let's improve on that, and that's where I kind of live my life.
I just want to know, like, as you were going down to middleweight, Jamal Hill wins the title. You have a win over him. Magomed just won it. So, like, was it kind of weird seeing that, like, I left the division and these two guys that I beat are now champions?
Yep, it was, because after I made that decision, and we knew Ankalaev was going to be the champion, just through his body of work up to that point was incredible, and they were kind of holding him back for being that champion because they know how dangerous he is. But that's a good thing for me, making this move back up to light heavyweight, because there's some unfinished business there. And as I said, it's almost like a queue skip. Like, you know, you get that band at Disneyland where you're like, hey, you're walking past the top 15, like, oh, queue skip, I've got the victory over him. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. But first and foremost, I need to get through Bellato. And as we've spoke about, he's not a slouch. He's an experienced light heavyweight, but not as experienced as me. And I think that's where this could be an exciting fight.
Did you happen to catch Bo Nickal's last fight?
I did, and I feel really bad for Bo Nickel, and this sport is very fickle. Bo Nickel is one of the best wrestlers in the country. Like, the credentials that he has as a wrestler is impressive. And I do believe, like, he's 29 years old, so he's a young guy. He's still got a lot of potential to show, and I do believe he'll come back for this. But going up against a guy like Derrida, he's a great jiu-jitsu guy. Like, watching him as a fan, I was excited for this fight. But there's a lot of pressure on Bo Nickel, and there always has been. But watching that fight back, it was that loser mentality that came out in me. I should have done that to him as well, and I could have done that to him, but you didn't, Paul, and you're going to have to suffer that the rest of your life. I can't leave things in the past. I need to do something to stop this from happening. So come Saturday night, when I watch this fight back, it's not going to be I should have done this, I could have done this. It's going to be I did that right.
I know you said this like several times in this interview that you don't like to look back, but looking at that Bo Nickel fight, what was the game plan going into that fight? We
thought that our striking would have been much more of a deterrent for him to shoot in on us. That's what I wanted. I wanted him to shoot in on me and make my job much easier. I didn't expect, not that I didn't expect to out-wrestle him, but I guess I need to be realistic. In Scotland, we don't have any wrestling. Like, it's not like we've got wrestling pedigree guys there. Like, did you see that Scottish wrestler in the Olympics? No, because there's like very few guys make it from Scotland into the Olympics. So we didn't expect to be able to take him down. So what we thought was our ability to push him back would allow him to strike for us. That fight is still one of my favourite fights. Being able to take these shots that he was throwing, hearing that crowd booing him, and just walking out in Madison Square Garden. Like, this sport is about moments, and this sport for me is about my legacy, and that was like a legacy fight, even though I'd lost it.
So then finally for me, what's it going to take to get the UFC to go back to Scotland?
I just find it's too hard for the UFC to come back to Scotland. The arenas aren't big enough. The fans are there. When you think about any UK show or even European show, the Scottish fans will travel the world for the UFC. I would love them to be back in the show. I'd love to headline that, but unfortunately, it's a financial business, and it's not financially viable for the UFC. But could you imagine me walking out in Scotland for like my 25th fight or my 30th fight? It'd be amazing. It'd be like dreams come true.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Just one quick one for me. You talk about Scottish wrestlers, and there's not many of them. There is a pretty good one in the WWE, Drew McIntyre. I know you spent some time in Insane Championship Wrestling. Is that correct? Now with the WWE and UFC kind of under the TKO umbrella, WrestleMania was just here in Vegas a couple weeks ago. Have you thought about maybe a post-fighting career, getting into the WWE ring? And how much did you enjoy your time performing as a professional wrestler?
Wrestling as a kid was where I first learned how to fight. That's where my love came from. Watching Bret Hart getting screwed over, watching Stone Cold becoming like the champion, The Rock. I loved everything about it. I loved the pageantry. And so when I started doing the ICW stuff, it was brilliant. It was safe. I wasn't getting hurt. I mean, it's still very dangerous wrestling. And one of the conversations we had was the things we can't do, because first and foremost, I'm a fighter. I can't be going into matches compromised. As WWE, I would love to just walk out and hear the fans. Like, I'm talking like even a Raw or a SmackDown, any of that kind of stuff I would love. But to walk out in WrestleMania in London, I think they're talking about coming to London next year. That'd be like amazing. Like, for any kid, fighting in the UFC is cool, but fighting for the WWE is cooler. And Drew McIntyre I was blown away with how big he was. Because I know he's big, and you're thinking, right, camera adds a couple of pounds, but standing in front of him and his hands, it was like holding a plate. He's so big. And there is some really good Scottish wrestlers and performance wrestling that are coming through, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do as well.
Thanks. Good luck.
All good? Cool. Beautiful, guys. Have a nice day.
Rodolfo, welcome back to the UFC Apex Fight Week, co-main event. How are you feeling?
Bom, me sinto muito bem, estou preparado para essa luta. Minha terceira luta no UFC, já estou fazendo um co-main event, então me sinto muito feliz, muito honrado com essa oportunidade.
I feel ready. I'm ready to go. It's my third fight in the UFC, so I'm really honored by this opportunity.
Does the Apex provide a special feeling for you? You know, getting going through the Contender Series, getting the contract. I know you were here once before, but does it have a special feeling for you coming back into this building?
Ah, com certeza, já me sinto, vou falar em casa aqui, mas já é a minha terceira luta aqui, então isso me deixa, já sei como funciona aqui, como é o clima, o tamanho do octógono, então me sinto muito bem lutando aqui.
I can't say that I feel at home, but you know, I feel really good here. I know everywhere. I know where to go, the size of the octagon, so I feel really good in here.
Last time we saw you get a majority draw. How much does that fight weigh on your head, and how ready have you been to try to get back in here and get back and get a win on your record?
A última deu o empate, né? Como é que isso te afetou? Você estava com pressa de voltar, queria voltar logo para apagar a memória dessa luta?
Cara, foi uma luta que me ensinou muita coisa, aprendi com os erros ali. Vou trazer uma versão ainda melhor para essa luta. Mas como eu não lutei ano passado, eu queria voltar o quanto antes. Quero estar mais ativo esse ano. e essa luta caiu num momento muito bom.
I learned a lot from that fight, actually, a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that I could look back at. And, you know, since I didn't fight last year, I want to remain active, so I wanted to get back in here as quick as possible, for sure.
And then they give you the name Paul Craig. What was your initial thoughts on him as an opponent when that was the name they gave you?
Quando te deram o nome do Paul Craig, o que você achou dele como adversário?
Eu e meu treinador, a gente estava até falando que foi um casamento muito bom pra gente, que é um cara que a gente conseguiu criar um gameplay muito bom para lutar contra ele, então é um cara de muito nome, é um cara que eu já acompanhava há muito tempo, então foi um casamento de luta muito bom para mim.
I was just talking to my coach about how it was, you know, a great matchup for me. We can create a good strategy around him, a good game plan. So he's got a great name, so it was all good for me.
You know, a lot of times people see Paul Craig, they know that he's going to try to get the fight down to the ground. You have a great striking history as well. I mean, is the keys to the victory just making sure that the fight stays standing? And what do you think about him a lot of times when he's trying to pull fighters down into the ground a lot?
Bom, a luta começa em pé, tem todo esse caminho ali para ele conseguir chegar, para conseguir a queda, né? Então, claro, é um cara perigoso no jiu-jitsu, teve grandes finalizações, mas não pode esquecer também que sou um faixa preta, nunca fui finalizado na carreira, então, se a luta acontecer no chão, também vou estar muito preparado para isso.
You know, the fight starts standing, it starts on our feet, and there's a whole process for him to be able to take me down, but I know he's got submission wins, I know he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but you can't forget that I'm also a black belt, so it's not going to be that easy for him on the ground either.
And what do you think a win over Paul Craig does for you within the division?
Bom, acho que é um cara que já foi ex-top 8 nessa categoria, é um cara que tem um grande nome, então tenho certeza que vou ficar ali muito próximo ao top 15, e essa é a minha meta, cada vez subindo mais nessa divisão.
He was ranked 8th in this division. He's a guy who's got a big name. A lot of people know him, so I'm sure that this is a fight that's going to get me closer to the rankings, and it's going to get my name out there too.
And like you said, he's a guy that has a lot of experience, but the odds makers have you as a huge favorite. Why do you think the odds makers are leaning so heavily in your favor?
Acho que devido à fase que ele vem, 3 derrotas, né? E eu vindo aí de 4 vitórias e um empate, então acho que é isso que a galera bota eu como um grande favorito. Mas isso não interfere nada na minha cabeça, porque quando fecha a porta lá, só nós dois podemos resolver. Então, eu acho que esse negócio não pode mudar o meu estilo de luta, entendeu?
I think it's because of the run he's on. You know, he's coming off 3 losses. I'm coming off 4 wins and a draw. So I think that's kind of the way they see it. But in the end of the day, you know, once the cage is locked, we're in there. It's just him and I. I can't let that affect me in the way I fight.
Last thing for me, your keys to the victory. What needs to happen on Saturday to make sure that you get your arm raised?
Bom, acho que a chave para a vitória é fazer com que ele canse ali no primeiro round. Ele é um cara que vai muito bem no primeiro round, se entrega muito ali, mas acaba cansando. Então, ficar muito esperto ali nas entradas de queda e machucando ele. E assim que der, concluir com um nocaute.
I think the key to the victory is, you know, being careful in the first round. He's a guy that comes out super explosive and aggressive. Be careful with his takedowns. Just be careful in general in the beginning of the fight and when I see the opening to knock him out.
Rodolfo, bom dia. Você já falou sobre o objetivo de entrar no top 15 dos meio passados em este ano. Quais aspectos do seu jogo você pretende destacar nessa luta para se aproximar dessa meta?
Qual que você vai mostrar nessa luta para chegar mais perto da meta de entrar no ranking?
Eu quero ganhar bem do Paul Craig para mostrar que realmente eu estou pronto para isso, para poder subir cada vez mais no ranking. Como eu já disse, ele é um ex-ranqueado, então acho que isso me coloca nessa posição.
I want to win, and I want to win in a good fashion to get me closer to the ranking. He was a guy that was in the ranking, so I believe that a win over him, a good win over him, is going to get me closer to that.
Paul Craig é conhecido pelo seu jogo de chão perigoso. Qual foi o foco principal da sua preparação para neutralizar as armas dele ou impor seu ritmo na luta?
Bom, eu gosto muito de focar no meu jogo, lógico, cada luta você tem que estudar seu adversário e ver o que ele faz de bom, mas eu foquei muito em mim nessa luta, foquei muito na parte em pé ali, nas defesas de queda também, logicamente, porque a gente luta MMA, então tem que se preocupar com tudo, mas eu sinto que eu estou pronto para essa luta e vou conseguir impor meu jogo e sair de lá com uma vitória.
I like to focus a lot on my own game. Obviously, we have to study our opponents and all of that, and I know of all the weapons that he brings in. But yeah, I know what I need to do to go in there and get the win.
Yeah, but some words I can speak some words, but maybe the next
Hello.
Sodiq,
How you feeling, Chief?
welcome to Fight Week.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, where the hell have you been?
Dealing with life and injuries. Trying to put my body back together.
What happened?
Well, you guys already know I've had a few problems with different discs in my spine. So it's just mostly the ones in the lower back and a couple in the neck. So that's really trying to mitigate that and trying to be pain-free. Trying to live as a regular person before focusing on being a fighter. So, if you can't be pain-free doing regular people stuff, it's a little bit hard to get into fist fights.
So how has that process been over the past year and a half?
It's getting a lot better. I had the guys at Life Med back in Maryland. They really helped me out a lot. A lot of stem cell shots, a lot of physical therapy, and surgery in the future. But like you said, I've been gone for a while. I didn't want to be gone for 2 years, so I'm gonna hold off on the surgery for a little bit.
Yeah, back surgery is pretty intense. I guess. Was that on the table, or like you said, you're going to push that?
Yeah, but it depends on. I had a couple options, and some were more extreme than others, So depending on which ones I was going to go with, it was one of those things where it's like, if you do this, your body's never going to be the same forever, So I kind of try to mitigate it with dealing with the pain first, then actually trying to fix it with surgery.
Yeah. Back issues for a professional athlete is kind of scary, right? So I guess what's kind of been your mind and like your thoughts about it all?
I mean, it is what it is, It's I'm a very optimistic guy, a positive guy. So if these are the cards that you're dealt. You just gotta work with it. I get a lot of inspiration from guys like Usman, who people always make fun of his knees all the time, but I think that's very inspirational to me, because he's getting it done, and he was able to become a champion getting it done. So you can't wallow in self-pity on the things that are wrong. You just got to make it work.
Is it safe to say your back's feeling good now?
It's good enough. Good enough to fist fight another grown man on TV.
So speaking of that, man, you're in a weird spot, right? Like, you've never lost 2 in a row. You're not used to losing. So, how are you feeling coming into this fight?
To be honest, man, short memory is everything is brand new to me. Every single fight is brand new. Even when I was on my winning streaks or whenever I'm winning, every new one is a new challenge. So it's not something I'm really thinking about, to be perfectly honest with you.
The move to lightweight. I know you've kind of been teasing it, and
yeah.
What was the eventual decision to move to lightweight?
The main thing for me is, one, health-wise, the health thing has been a real big thing with me. I was like, I've been fighting at 45 since I was a kid. Since I was, I literally wrestled at that weight class. So it's one of those things where I just feel like it didn't make sense. It wasn't very healthy. And from what I've been feeling this week, man, it's been a completely different experience of fight week. It's not as faint or groggy moving around. I have a lot of energy throughout the whole week. I'll see how the weight cut goes. Knock on wood, is super easy, and it also feel like it provides me with a lot of more opportunities. Taking short notice fights was impossible at featherweight. I want to be one of those guys like Kevin Holland that's just jumping into fights all the time. The long layoffs is just it's unfortunate for me. If in a perfect world, I'd be one of those guys like, hey, they could call up like, hey, we have a slot for you to jump in, and I'll be able to take that. And I think lightweight presents a lot of those opportunities for me.
How gnarly were the weight cuts getting at featherweight?
Here's the thing: I've never missed weight before, but it's never been easy. So it's only, and I'm a very disciplined guy. I don't cheat on my diet or anything like that. I actually have a joke that I was telling a couple of my teammates is that I hear about these guys cheating on like their diets during camp, like they're eating ice cream and shit. I'm like, man, I wonder what that's like. Like, I've always been very, very strict with everything I've done, and it's never been easy. So I was like, maybe that's a sign that you're doing a little too much.
for your first fight at lightweight, you're fighting a featherweight. That's
I actually think that works out very well. You know, it's a good test in the water because we're both coming up. It's not, at least I'm not jumping into it and facing the Gleason T-bows of the weight class. You know, it's on that's relatively similar size.
right, exactly. One last thing about like the weight. Is the move to lightweight permanent?
I don't want to give a definitive answer because I might walk out this room right now and change my mind, you know. But for now, I could say yeah.
Gotcha. What do you think of the matchup with Mairon?
It's fun. It's fun, you know. He's another striker, so it's one of those things that it provides. Whenever I see opportunity to get a bonus, I'm always happy, you know. So for striker, the way I naturally fight, Fighter of the Nights is easy to obtain, you know. So that's something that always makes me a little bit happier. But from what I've seen, he's a very, very clean, technical guy, and you guys already know how I fight, so that's going to be a good night.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's a ridiculously fun fight. And you kind of already said, like, you know, you're going in this fight kind of thinking fight of the night. So is obviously every fighter wants to go in there, knock their opponent out in the first 30 seconds.
Hands down. Don't listen. I'm not one to lie to you. I see fight of the night on paper just because of our stylistic matchups. If I could walk into a fight and 5 seconds everybody, I'll gladly take that any day.
So at the end of the day, man, like, how do you see yourself getting your hand raised on Saturday?
Get my hands raised. To be honest, I could see a finish happening relatively fast just because I do see some things that are open. But if it's not a fast finish, I don't mind the fight of the night. Like I said, you know, it's one of those things where I don't mind having a long competition, especially because my last one was so fast. I didn't get to show off much. I feel like I want to get an opportunity to actually display my art.
Awesome. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Just one follow-up for me. You know, speaking of the lightweight division, we've seen some recent changes where the champ stepped down and he's heading up to, you know, compete at the welterweight. I guess your thoughts on Ilya versus Charles, you know, going for the belt. I don't know if you have predictions for that. And
that's a fun fight, man. That's a very fun fight. There's a running joke online about Topuria is like, people want to like him, but he just keeps on taking out everybody's favorite fighter, you know. And here he is again fighting Charles, you know. He's a very fun guy to watch, and that's gonna be a hard fight, man. I want to see what he looks like at lightweight, you know, because the only person we ever fought him fight was Jai Herbert. So if his power translates the same way it does at featherweight, which I do 100% believe it will, I see him becoming a 2-division champ.
And then how do you think Islam does going up and fighting at the welterweight?
Now that's going to be a little harder. Like I don't know how big. I've never seen Islam in person. I don't know how big he is, but that weight class is rough, man. 170, they got a lot of dogs at the top of that weight class, and it's one of those weight class where wrestling is not going to be a problem for the challengers. You know, there's a lot of good guys that have either good wrestling defense or they are the wrestlers themselves. Like, I can see him and, like, Sean Brady having a hard time, you know. Him and Usman having a hard time, you know. Like, he might have a little bit easier times with some of the strikers, but even the strikers move around relatively well to where they can avoid him. That's going to be a little bit harder for him than it will be for Topuria.
Did you watch the fight between Belal and Jack? Did you? And I was going to wonder what your thoughts, because a lot of people, you know, Jack's a decent-sized guy himself, you know. So what did you think of that performance and him getting that belt?
It was a great performance, man, because Belal's a dog, you know, but Jack was just a little bit better technically on the striking, you know. It was a good fight. A lot of people are giving Belal a slack online about how the fight went, but it wasn't. People watch stuff with revisionist history. It was a very close fight. When you watch it, it wasn't like he was getting like destroyed. You know, it was a very close fight. But man, Jack Della, man, his boxing is good, man. I like the stuff I see from him.
Yeah, his striking looked real good, and I think a lot of people when they look at Islam, they think, okay, he's just another version, kind of like Belal, but maybe better in that. When it comes to the takedown and doing that, how do you rate the differences between those two?
That's what I'm saying. To be honest, I don't think he's that much of a difference from Belal, you know. It's like if he is better than Belal, it's not so drastic that's like he's going to take over the division. I think that's going to be a hard task. But then again, I've never seen what he looks like. He might show up at 170 looking like looking like that, you know. So that might be it.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Two quick ones for me. Last year, you posted something on social media where you picked up a new skill. You were learning how to fish and maybe talked about living off the grid. With everything going on with grocery prices and stuff, have you done any more fishing and have put any more thought into living off of the grid?
Listen, a while ago, I think, back in the day, Gregor Gillespie, he got on the mic and he was like, I'm the best fisherman in the UFC. Well, I'm here to officially announce I'm the worst fisherman in the UFC. Listen, I've caught like 2 fish since I started my fishing journey, you know. But recently, I bought a RV boat that you could drive the boat into the middle of the water, and it'll dump your line into the water for you. So my hope is the further I cast the line, the more fish I'll be able to get. But yeah, my fishing skills aren't that great.
Just one last one for me. One of the most entertaining social media series, I think, in the last couple of years were your well-predicted fight picks, I think. Why did we stop doing those, and when can we hope to see them again?
A lot of people have been getting on me about stopping on Professional Breakdown, man. I was getting to the point where it's like, I put a lot of time into making them, you know, and because it wasn't garnering the view, it was very demoralizing. But that's just me getting in my own headspace. And I also wanted to take a time away from a lot of MMA stuff because, like I said, when I was dealing with all that injury, like my spine stuff and the disc stuff, I really did not want to think about fighting because it was so depressing, you know. So that's another reason why I stopped making them. But I've had a lot of people get on me about Professional Breakdowns, and I don't want to give a timeline yet of when I'll start doing them again, but I will, you know, because every time I'm watching the cards, I'll think about jokes, and I'll like, I'll do it later. But don't worry, I'll bring them back for sure.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hello?
How you doing, Gilbert? Obviously, listen, another fight. You're pretty old hand of them now. How are we feeling ahead of this one?
Feeling good, a little bit of pressure. I'm putting pressure on myself just because of my performance. I want to perform. I don't think the last time I performed the way I wanted, I have a little problems, no excuse. I had a little problems with my wake up, my recovery. Sean Brady went there, did his thing, and then I had to change a lot of things and get here. And I want to be here. The thing is not about Morales, it's about me performing. I want to go there and put a work that I've been training. And yeah, excited to be here, to be back, but show up, put on a show.
You remind me when you say that of Israel Adesanya after he fought Sean Strickland, where it wasn't the loss that kind of aided him. It's more the fact that he didn't perform and he felt like, I'm at this stage of my career, I just want to go and do my best. Is that how you're feeling, that you want to just show the best of you?
Yes. Same thing Easy said. And then it's this. It's just like after the fight, Wagner Rocha, he's one of my coaches over there. And right after the fight, he said, hey, we got to talk, And then, I'm not sure, but I think he went to his gym, and then he said, bro, you have it was that conversation, that real conversation, that you're real friends, that was everything you need to hear. It's not pleasure. It's like, that brutally, honestly true. He told me everything, then I'm like, yeah. And then I had my other coach, Daniel, that we had that same conversation. It was painful, but I needed to hear, and that was, I think, end of the year, last year, and then we start working, and then he's the guy that always be in my corner. I always want him on my corner. He was on my corner when I fought Kamaru and when I fought Dan Hooker, but I lost these both, and then he was a little, I don't want to be in your corner anymore. It hurts, but then after the fight, he watched it, and he hated that he wasn't here, he was not a part. And then we make a deal with him. I'm going to put on the work. And he said, you still can beat these guys. You have the potential, but we're not putting the work. You're still working, but you're not putting the work that you should do it. And then I'm here. He didn't kick me when I was down. He was honest. It was painful, but then he gave the hand and said, I'm going to be with you. Let's put on the work. And then I changed a couple of things. I had to change a lot of things in my career to get here, but we did change it. We did put a lot of work. And I felt a little rejuvenated. I feel a little bit, okay, let's right those wrongs. It happens. It kind of sucks, those losses, especially 3 back-to-back. Even in Jiu-Jitsu, I never have 2 losses back-to-back. In MMA, I didn't have 2, but I had 3 at once. And then, man, got to change a couple of things. And then we change it, we change a lot of things. I kind of was losing a little bit the belief on myself, and then they helped me to bring that one back. Not easy on the freaking hard training and heel sprints and a couple other conversations, and I feel that, but I still have that feeling that I want to perform. I don't want anything. I want to perform.
Well, those conversations can go one of 2 ways, right? They can tell you that you're not putting in the work and stuff like that, and you think, well, 3 losses, maybe it's time. I sort of look at leaving the sport, or you can get reinvigorated and get that fire back, which it sounds like you have. You mentioned the 3 losses, and obviously 3 losses is no fun for anyone. But if you look at the guys, right, Sean Brady, okay, the performance wasn't what it was. The Jack fight, completely competitive. The Blau fight, it was a bit of a weird one. You sort of, didn't feel like yourself in there, maybe had an injury or something, but those are the top of the division, so you can still compete with these guys. So do you look at those, look at your performances and think, okay, little adjustments and I'm right back in there?
Yes, that's exactly the way I see it. Look at these fights, and I'm like, the Belal fight, I got hurt. First, 2 minutes of the fight, it happens, it's not his fault. Guy went there, beat me. The Jack fight, I was doing a lot of things right until I don't. Ain't no excuse. Oh, I was winning. Yeah, I was winning, but you didn't win. Whenever it was time to really, when I made a mistake, he got up. He caught me with a beautiful knee, finished the fight. But the last one was the one that, man, I didn't show up. That one bothered me the most. It still bothered me, the 3 losses, but I just got to change little things. I know it's not a lot of things, but it's a little bit more discipline there, a little bit more improvement here. More serious here, honor this coach, honor every single one of my coaches, put on the work, little, I I believe I paid the price, and I did all the things that I could done to get here, to put me here ready, the weight cut, the training, the dedication, the discipline, and all those things. I think I really put a lot of work for this fight.
What did you make of Jack and Belal? Obviously, you've been there with both of them. Was that the way you thought the fight was going to play out, or were you impressed with Jack?
No, I kind of predicted that Jack was going to win. I felt how good he is, bro. That guy was real good. And when I see he's training with Volk, I saw he's already had great scrambles when we fought, good get-ups, good takedown defense, and then he kind of was even more close to Craig Jones and with the Volk, with everything, and I said, man, that guy's going to win. And then I was seeing to see if Belal was going to train with Habib, but have that thing that Islam want to move up. I don't know, but I assumed that was the case. Okay, I'm not going. This guy may fight me. And when I saw that he didn't went there, and he was more in Chicago here, and then I was looking and say, yeah, he's going to be, he's not 2-3 years Dagestan this time. I think Jack's going to win, you know. And then I start, before I picked Jack, I picked Belal, but I started watching, looking more, paying attention to these things more, and I said, yeah, Jack's going to win. And I played exactly the way I did. The Jack did the great thing, great movement, changing stance, in and out, long combinations, good takedown defense, safety. He fought a great fight. I was expecting a little bit more of forcing the wrestling from Belal. I thought Belal was going to force. Even like, he's not working, I don't care. That kind of mentality, okay, he's not working, but I'm going to keep trying. I thought he was going to do that a little bit more, but he didn't. And I think the fight kind of slipped away from his hands when he didn't force the wrestling, don't even like try too much. And I think Jack looked awesome.
So that's the big debate, right? We kind of have to wait to hear from Belal. But is it that Jack stopped the wrestling, like he couldn't get close enough to force it, as you said, or did he really fall in love with his Canelo hands, and did he really believe in his striking and sort of got away from what bring him to the dance?
Yeah, we don't know. I think that's the question. That's the question that Belal gonna answer. Did you want to really get the fans in love with you and just striking and, you know, because the fight was super entertaining. It sucks that Belal lost, but the fight was entertaining. That was a great fight. And unfortunately he lost, but I don't know if you really want to do just strike with this guy, you know, making an entertaining fight. I don't know what was the game plan. And then I praise these guys because Belal works very hard. His fighting IQ is high. His team has a good strategy. I think they do a great job. Not at that fight. You know, that fight, I don't know, but I don't think they did the right strategy to beat Jack.
Gilbert, what are your thoughts on Michael Morales and the UFC giving, you know, an old veteran, a young killer? I don't know, like, kind of when you step back, like, do you think it's the UFC's like trying to test this guy, or are they trying to get him over on you? Like, what are your thoughts on everything?
That's the UFC story, you know. Like, he's a upcoming. The guy's doing everything right. 25 years old, Ecuadorian. We don't have a lot of Ecuador guys besides Chito Vera. I was there in Miami. I fought Jack there when Chito fought Sean O'Malley. The whole media from Ecuador was huge. Everyone from Ecuador was there. So, yeah, he's a possible start, you know. And then me, I got to prove myself that I still want to belong on the top. So, yeah. So, whoever wins, if I believe I'm going to win, me winning, I'm back, you know. Then I need to get another fight to get close to a title shot. And if he wins, he cracks the top 10. So, yeah, it's the UFC story. And this guy's doing everything right. I respect him a lot. Very tough, young, super athletic. He started on wrestling, now has good boxing. The guy's good.
You're the biggest underdog, and he's the biggest favorite over you of your entire career. Yes. He's a bigger favorite than Hamzat was over you. Are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised. No, really. I think the way I look on my last 3 fights and the way he looked on his last 3 fights, odds make it a little crazy, but yeah, he should be a favorite. And then I like to be a dog. One more time, I love it.
And then last year, this was before the Sean Brady fight, you said that you only had a couple fights left and you're not here for a long time. Has that quote changed because you've kind of fallen back in love with MMA, or is it you're still kind of taking it fight by fight?
I'm in love with MMA again, but I always was. Not that I'm not, but yeah, I'm not. I don't have freaking Michael Morales type fights coming up. You know, that guy can do like 20 more fights. I don't think I have all of that. I still want that. I got a couple more fights, a couple more good fights. I still got a little more riding. My coach is going to travel a little bit more to Vegas with me, to a couple other places. Yeah, and I'm enjoying, you know, so yeah, we'll see. One fight at a time, but we still got a couple more fights.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
What did you think about the Islam vacating the belt and going up and immediately getting a shot at the welterweight bout? And what do you think about that? And how different is that fight going to play out than what we saw versus Belal?
That's going to be a great fight. Islam is working very hard. He's being vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's big. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know. I think he was a little, okay, if you're going up, we got to, I don't know. But probably that was in the negotiation. And, I like him moving up. Proving himself. He's number 1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of crack the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating Islam, you know. Yeah. Everybody good?
Actually, I got one more for you. Obviously, you've fought JDM, and the welterweight division has kind of seen a shift, right? Older guys are on the back end. These new guys are coming out. Of the newer guys, right, Buckley, Ian Gary, Shavkat, Sean Brady, you fought him. Who are you kind of like most impressed with? Kind of like you think is like kind of the future of the division?
Oh, all these guys are they're different, right? Ian Gary, great striker, super fast, high volume. Buckley, dangerous, you know, great boxing, physically very big, strong for the division. Has a big test now on Kamaru. Morales has a good test now on me. Sean Brady's been looking very impressive, especially after the Belal loss. He came back, he put on the work, looking better and better. Shavkat is a freaking monster. I cannot wait for this guy to be healthy and showing. You know, he's very, very good. Who else is in there? Carlos Prates. All these guys, you know, they good, you know, and then the veterans, we got to put on the work, you know. We cannot let these guys take over, so we got to keep working, keep getting better, and prove that we're still a force in this division.
Thanks, Gilbert.
Yeah.
Okay, just one quick question over here,
Yeah.
Gilbert. Bom dia, obrigado. So, considering the welterweight division is probably one of the most stacked and one of the most competitive, toughest divisions in the UFC right now, and considering what you've seen from Michael Morales specifically, because I know you studied his fights, you've watched them. Besides Brazilians and Mexicans, which are probably the two countries that have like the most Latin fighters in the UFC, where do you see Michael Morales' ceiling within the division and within his career? He said he might also move up in weight class sometime later on.
Oh yeah, I think for sure he's a man, but on the sport he's still a kid, bro. Guy's freaking 25 years old, cracking the top 15 already for one of the most stacked division. I think he's doing the right things. I just think, you know, one advice that I give to Ian Gary, I'll give the same to him. Go travel a little bit, you know, go to other places, other gyms, go train, go get more experience, and keep getting better. I think he's doing the right things. I believe I'm gonna stop him Saturday night. I do believe in that, but that's not gonna really stop the guy's career, you know. And I think he should get a lot of experience, a lot of fights, training, travel, go here, training this guy, go here, go freaking 2-3 years, Dagestan, get a little, get better a little bit, go improve all the areas. I think this guy has a crazy future if he keep doing the right things. 25 years old, already in the UFC, already with that record. Oh, that guy he's going to be a force in the UFC soon.
Obrigado pelo seu tempo.
Valeu. Yep, good. Bye.
Mairon, welcome to Fight Week. How you feeling? Just a few days away from fighting.
Thank you. Feel good. Can't wait.
You know, you given the name. Well, first, the move to lightweight. You know, tell me a little bit about that. How was that change of things? I know you fought recently, but did that help in this preparation, getting to be able to come in here a little bit heavier?
This fight came up like with 4 weeks, so lightweight was like the weight that I could make, and for me it doesn't change a lot. Like Sodiq is a guy that used to fight 45 too. I know he's moving permanently, but all my partners, like my main training partners, they are lightweights. I fought lightweight a lot. I think I have more fights lightweight than featherweight. So I'm just more excited that I have less weight to cut.
Yeah. So you're going to feel stronger? Do you feel that you're more powerful at 55, or is it the power is the same at the featherweight?
No, I feel that I'm stronger, and I feel that I'm more healthy at this point. Like usually if I weak, my energy is lower. So we'll see, but I feel better than 45 right now at this point.
How much do you usually have to cut to get to 45? If you don't mind, you can give me a roundabout number.
Like 40 pounds.
Holy cow. What is the process of that? How far out do you start to do that cut, and how much do you cut on fight week?
So usually when I start like to text my manager and ask for a fight, I really like have to lower my weight, otherwise I can't have a fight. So I start my diet before I have a fight usually, and for like my last fight, I've had like I think 2 months to prepare for the fight, but I was already on diet for 1 month. So let's say 3 months, and like 3 months was what I needed last time.
And I think most of us, I think that's a crazy amount of weight. That's incredible that you're able to perform how you do, dropping that much weight. Looking at this fight, you know, obviously a lot of us are chomping a bit. We know you guys are going to be in the middle striking and throwing, but how do you see this fight playing out, and where do you see that Sodiq is the most dangerous?
In the beginning of the fight, he's dangerous, he's powerful, but he usually starts to get tired after like the first blitz. And that's what I want to explore. That's where I know that I can find the gaps. And I think I have to be very like careful in the beginning. And then I know that like my cardio and like my movement and everything will help me out. So I think it's going to be a good fight for me.
And do you feel that you're going to be able to be even more explosive and have a little bit more to push since you haven't had to do that weight cut? Do you feel like you're going to be more, you know, powerful throughout the whole fight?
Yes, I think like my knockout power will be bigger on this weight class, but I know that my cardio was always good and my chin was always good. Maybe it will be better right now. I don't know. But I don't intend to get hit, so I don't know if we'll find out. But yeah, knockout power will be a factor for sure.
And this is just temporarily visiting lightweight. Featherweight is still going to be your desired home. That's the division you want to stay in.
So after the fight, we'll know better. I'll talk with team and with everything, because I want to be active, and for that I need to like be close to the weight division. So if I can't like be close to featherweight, I might move up because I want to be active. Like that's my job, so I want to work. But after the fight, we'll know better. I have to know how I'm gonna feel, how's recovery gonna be, how my body gonna feel, and after the fight, a couple weeks after, maybe we'll decide.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because I was going to ask what this fight does for you in the division, but this isn't your normal division, you know. But so that going forward, if you feel really good and you have a great performance and everything feels good, you think you could be more active at the lightweight range just because you're able to take a fight easier without the weight cut?
Yeah, I think I know I can be active at featherweight too, but my weight cuts wouldn't be like good for my body. Like, I know if I have to, I'm gonna cut 40 pounds in 1 month. If I have to, I'll do that, but it's not gonna be healthy, and my body can just take this damage for so long. So right now, my focus is like on this fight. After, we'll see how my body feels and everything, and maybe lightweight will be my home.
What's the ideal number of fights that you're hoping to get in a year?
3. In the beginning of the year, I wanted to have 4, but right now I just had a baby, so I want to give like more attention, and my wife is doing like everything because I've had 2 camps in a row, so I have to train and rest. And but after this one, I want to take a break and come back in the end of the year, like November, December will be good for me.
How has life changed since the birth of your child?
Man, it changed everything. My dream was always to have a family, and I didn't know that it would be so awesome like it is right now. Like, I always imagined that it was going to be good, but right now having a family, having a child, it's like 100 times better than I ever thought. So I'm just happy, and this year like has been the greatest year of my life, and I'm enjoying.
And it always seems that once a fighter becomes a father, they get that dad strength in there. Do you feel like you have a little extra motivation? You feel a little bit extra powerful now that you have somebody else to take care of?
Yeah, because right now, like, I don't fight just for me. Like, my wife, she can have her dreams and everything. My mom can have her dreams, and I can have my own dream. But right now, like, his life depends on me, so I'm fighting for him too. So it's just more motivating, and it's an extra thing that it's for good.
That's awesome. I'm sure this fight's played out a bunch of ways in your head, but when you look at Saturday in your mind, how do you see this fight playing out?
I will always look for the finish, and that's what I want to do Saturday, finish the fight.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Arian, can you just go back to your UFC debut? Obviously, there was a lot of expectations and hype on you. Now that you've had a lot of time to think about that fight, what happened?
I think I just rushed things a little bit, like coming off a knockout in the finale. I was like, I just wanted to relive the moment again, and I put a lot of expectations on myself, so I just wanted to finish the fight quick and put on a highlight, and I think that's not like me. Usually I'm more patient. I was rushing. I was not using my feints like I should. So I think that was one of the things that made the performance not be good. So, yeah, I was just rushing and not being patient. That was my mistake.
And how excited are you to be fighting on Mateus's debut card?
So it's amazing because it's his debut, but I'm just starting my UFC career, so it's good to start with him. We have a lot of stories about like struggles and not having money and things like that. We used to work together in the past, so it's amazing and I can't wait.
Good luck.
Thank you.